Yellowjackets Season 2 is an American thriller drama television series created by Ashley Lyle and Bart Nickerson. The series premiered on Showtime on November 14, 2021. It received critical acclaim, particularly for its story and performance of the cast. Its accolades include 7 Primetime Emmy Award nominations, including Outstanding Drama Series and acting nominations for Lynskey and Ricci. In December 2021, the series was renewed for a second season, which premiered on March 26, 2023. In December of 2022, the series was renewed for a third season. The story is set in 1996. A New Jersey high school girls soccer team travels to Seattle for a national tournament. While flying over Canada, their plane crashes in the deep wilderness, and the surviving team members are left stranded for 19 months. The series chronicles their attempts to stay alive as some of the team members are driven to cannibalism. It also focuses on the lives of the survivors 25 years later, in 2021, as the events of their ordeal continue to affect them many years after the rescue. The cast includes Melanie Lynskey and Sophie Nélisse as the adult and teenage versions of Shauna Shipman, later Shauna Sadecki. In Season 2, she is now struggling with the loss of her friend Jackie, and also with the fact that she is now pregnant within the wilderness. As an adult, she is married to Jeff, but is unhappy with her life as a housewife and a strained relationship with her daughter Kelly. After murdering and disposing of the body of Adam, a man she had an affair with in the first series, the police now start investigating her. Tawny Cypress or Jasmin Savoy Brown as the adult and teenage versions of Thaisa Turner. She now openly is dating Vanessa and has continued sleepwalking, which she later develops into a psychogenic fugue, causing her to wander around the woods in the middle of the night. As an adult, she is married to Simone, but after Simone finds their pet dog Biscuit murdered by Thaisa in one of her sleepwalks, she and their son Sammy leave, causing Thaisa to go in search of an adult version of Vanessa. Stephen Krueger as Ben Scott, often called Coach or just Coach Ben, the assistant coach of the Yellowjackets soccer team. After losing his right leg in the plane crash, he has to simultaneously deal with his injury and the fact that he's the only adult who survived the crash. He begins to remove himself from the rest of the survivors and battles with deep depression and suicidal thoughts. Jack Depew as Jeff Sadecki. He's the husband of Shauna and the father of Kelly and owns a furniture store. Christina Ricci and Samantha Hanratty as the adult and teenage versions of Misty Quigley. In Season 2, she forms a friendship with Crystal over their shared love of musical theatre. As an adult, she works for a nursing home and continues to display manipulative and sadistic tendencies. She owns a pet parrot named Caligula and is the member of an online crime-solving club called the Citizen Detectives. Juliette Lewis and Sophie Thatcher as the adult and teenage versions of Natalie Scortocchio. After the plane crash, Natalie and Travis prove to be the most proficient with hunting with a rifle, and the two begin dating. As an adult, she maintains a destructive on- and off-gain relationship with Travis, but later breaks up with him. She returns to New Jersey after finishing rehab program, and almost kills herself at the end of Season 1, taken to a remote, cult-like enclave run by one of the former Yellowjackets, Lottie. Simone Kessell and Courtney Eaton as the adult and teenage versions of Charlotte Lottie Matthews, a member of the Yellowjacket soccer team who has schizophrenia. Her wealthy parents are responsible for providing the private plane that ultimately crashes. After the plane crash, she runs out of medication, begins experiencing disturbing visions, prompting her to seek spiritual guidance from Laura Lee. Her superstitions are gradually adopted by the survivors during their time in the wilderness. After the survivors are rescued, she is involuntarily committed to a mental hospital in Switzerland. As an adult, she becomes a healer and runs a wellness commune group called Camp Green Pine. Although she seems to have been cursed, her visions unexpectedly return for the first time in decades. Lauren Ambrose and Liv Hewson as the adult and teenage versions of Vanessa Van Palmer. In high school, Vanessa is the goalkeeper of the Yellowjacket soccer team. She is secretly dating Thaisa prior to the plane crash, and the relationship continues during their time in the wilderness. After the plane crash, she is nearly burnt alive in the wreckage, but manages to escape. During an expedition, she is mauled by wolves, which leaves her permanently scarred on the left side of her face. Her belief in Lottie's superstition strains her relationship with the skeptical Thaisa. As an adult, she owns a video store and has recently been diagnosed with terminal cancer. Elijah Wood as Walter Tattersall, citizen detective who tries to help Misty. John Cameron Mitchell has a small cameo as Caligula, the human personification of Misty's pet parrot. In January 2023, Variety reported that Kia King, who played Aquila in Season 1, had exited the series. Her role was recast with Nia Sordania. The main theme song No Return was written and performed by Craig Wedren and Anna Waronker, who said they aimed to channel our off-kilter 90s roots into something that felt like then, but could have only been made now, just like the show. On March 9, 2023, Florence and the Machine released a cover of No Doubt, Just a Girl, as a single to promote the second season. The 4th and 7th episodes of the season featured a cover of the show's theme song by Alanis Morissette. Some interesting trivia notes. Christina Ricci suggested that her character have a bird because she felt weird people have birds. Tawny Cypress, who plays adult version of Thaisa, wears coloured brown eye contacts on the show. Tawny's eyes in real life are blue-green. Both Courtney Eaton, who plays Lottie, and Sarah Desjardins, who plays Callie, originally auditioned for the role of teenage Shauna. A brief shot of Lottie's pill bottle identifies the prescription she is supposed to be taking twice daily as loxapine. Though this is a fictional drug, its name is very close to the real medication loxapine, which is an antipsychotic used to treat schizophrenia, a mental disorder that can cause episodes of psychosis, delusions and hallucinations, and paranoia. Schizophrenia often first presents during young adulthood. In an interview with the cast in April 2023, The Hollywood Reporter discussed the process of filming a pivotal second season scene in which their characters were shown eating Jackie's corpse. They said the body was an edible dummy made out of jackfruit, maple syrup and rice paper. Several cast members said the filming the scene was a very disturbing experience, while some tried to allay their unease with humour, calling the dummy Jackie fruit. Several said it made them feel nauseated. Now, Yellowjackets Season 2 exactly picks up where Season 1 left off. This is an incredibly deep, dark and disturbing show that poses the question at us: what would you do if you were in a similar situation? Would you resort to the same things that these survivors have had to do in order to keep surviving? It's an introspective look at the human condition, to see just how far, when pushed, what we will do in order to survive. Now, Season 1 introduced us to this range of characters. You saw, of course, the younger versions of the woman and then the older versions. It was a fascinating insight into these survivors on this plane crash, how their lives of adults were deeply affected by surviving in the wilderness for so long. But Season 1 was just sort of the tip of the iceberg, as it were, in terms of exactly what they did to get through this ordeal. And Season 2 holds nothing back in showing you the depths of depravity one would take in order to get through one of the hardest, toughest situations you could imagine. Season 2 for the young woman is now entirely set in winter, with huge blizzards and snow covering everywhere they could find. They are unable to find food and now have to resort to extreme measures in order to get through the next day and last a long, arduous winter in the middle of nowhere. In Season 2 now we are also introduced to an adult version of Lottie and Van. As a teenager, Lottie is almost the de facto leader, and through her superstitions and visions, she almost creates a cult-like following. As an adult, she's almost done the same now, creating a camp for people lost within themselves. The addition now also of Van as an adult version is fascinating, as well as, of course, the new character here played by Elijah Wood, who, of course, is the male version, basically, of Misty. Look, this is a very deep, introspective and dark show. It's quite haunting and shocking at times, and will leave you feeling somewhat bemused, uneasy, and in downright disbelief at what the writers have come up with here. Especially the acts of cannibalism are very hard to watch and even accept. And it's just scary to see these once civilized people becoming so barbaric and animalistic, as it were. How their minds play tricks on them. How they start having visions and even imagine that the dead are still alive. This is a deep, haunting show that will last long in the memory, and one of those shows that is not for the faint of heart. The cast are absolutely superb here, and everyone plays their roles perfectly. The writing and directing are superb too, and I cannot wait to see how Season 3 will evolve. The writers have drawn a comparison to The Lord of the Flies and the movie Alive, and referenced a comment by the author William Golding saying that this would never happen if women were involved. And you can see that influence in the writing of the show, basically taking the Lord of the Flies concept and having girls in place of boys. And even though it's a show that you can look in the present and then look in the past, the outcome is still surprising, and the twists and turns keep you fascinated and on the edge of your seat. Yellowjackets Season 2 gets a 9 out of 10.